wise. Like I'm not an expert on. I'm not a zoologist, but I don't think that's how that works.
I mean, it's an interesting team composition they've built as we make our way onto the Rift for our third game of the day. Third game for both these teams as well. X7 undefeated, NYYRIKKI yet to find a win. And as the desk was saying, I want to see what your opinion is on this. Ease of execution versus whatever X7 have been drinking this evening. What are your thoughts on these two compositions?
I honestly don't think that X7's comp is that hard to play. You have the layers of engage. I mean, any Ornn comp, like Ornn engage comps, are pretty easy to play. Then you have the Twitch Yumi, which is really weird. But I mean, you do have good layers of engage, like Ornn ulti to open up, and then you have a Diana with a Yumi on top of her that's been sped up by a Jace gate jumping in, and that's going to create all the chaos and confusion in the world for Jace and Twitch to just stand at long range doing all of their damage. I mean, it's not an easy comp to execute, but it might not be that difficult. I mean, also you also have to think about the aspect that X7 might be thinking that this should be an easy matchup against NYYRIKKI, so they can sort of afford to try out some stuff that might not be the strongest picks that they've got, just to see like, okay, does this work in a competitive environment? Sort of looking at it that way as well.
Potentially, but I mean, NYYRIKKI have given themselves a lot of disengage. The Krags was one the desk touched on a lot. Also, with the Xin Zhao and the Nami, they are potentially able to force back people like Diana, who's trying to get into the backline and cause all kinds of issues. But those team fights are a long way away. We've still got laning phase, and if X7 can want to win this game in a fashion that befits the composition, the way that they're building, they might want to try and do so a little bit earlier. So they'll have to be making some things happen sooner rather than later.
Bottom lane should be a place of strength for NYYRIKKI with a Jinx together with the Nami. Having so much sustain, push, range, like, I mean, you should be able to have a lot of pressure in this lane. But as we saw last game, just because you have pressure early on in bottom lane doesn't mean that you win. You can still get punished. So I think NYYRIKKI have to look at this lane sort of like the Lux Caitlyn lane that we saw in last game, that you need to give them space. Give them vision, give them control on the bottom side of the map so that they are able to push in this Twitch Yumi and punish them early on.
It's safety first rather than necessarily trying to play around it massively in order to get it ahead with the jungler. But damage coming down to X7, they're putting the burn with the poison. But the Nasty needs to be a little bit careful, and the top side Patoska also needs to keep himself clean. But Gragas is not something we've necessarily seen Patoska on or think of him when we're looking at champion pool. Although Abagnale needs to be a little bit careful. Damage coming through, forcing the flash away, the exhaust is down. Nata goes low, but will he be able to get the shield? He gets the shield, gets the heal. Haru is here, but isn't going to be able to secure a kill or any kind of play, as the Cedar also moves in to make sure that everything peters out properly.
That was pretty close. Chunking down the Twitch here is really good for them. I mean, you do have the Yumi heals, and you also had 2 potions because it did start with a Doran's ring. But the Sidra have been able to make his way in here. Could even go for the dive. Don't think that's going to be working out for them, though. So we'll just be recalling. Speaking a bit more about Nada here on this Twitch, we do have with a combination of summoner spells, runes, and starting item. I'm pretty confident to say that this is going to be an AP Twitch, which I think is a standard choice here. So nothing too unexpected, with a Crown of the Shattered Queen being such a strong item later on. I mean, you can open up with your ultimate, with Hail of Blades, you have so much attack speed, get all the burst damage onto the enemy team, and then pretty much unkillable for the first few seconds with that crown.
With the AP Twitch being the build potentially that is going to be looked towards, as you said, puts a lot more onus on Tempt on the Jace being the only real form of AD damage that the team is going to have. Abagnale in the mid lane trying to keep the Jace down, but he has got support in the wings if things go too wrong, with Haru just recalling off in that bush. Thinking about going in potentially, Eero is manaless, and is actually going to be the victim of Haru if he can get the catch on. Going for the recall. Does Haru know? Yes, he does. Diving on forward. Doesn't get too much damage in, though, as the Vex is going to be ran down. Flash available, dive available. Doesn't even need to flash as Haru picks up first blood.
Well played by Haru, getting a lot of burst damage down there with the Diana, picking up first blood in the mid lane. Not that crucial because Eero's been going for the teleport, so I can just TP back, but this might be very important though.
Abignale taking a decent amount of damage. The Chompers saved the life for a second longer, but the flash from Nata gets the kill. But now Nata needs to be careful. Goes invisible, but Astor is keeping on top of him. One more auto might be enough for the shield, the heal. Can a Twitch escape? He's running round the houses. Kasing dives off to give him another target. Jumping in front. Nata needs to survive. One more auto. Will he be able to? No, he won't. And now Astor's excited, but the cat helps grab the kill. And in the bot lane, big fight comes down. It's just Kasing left.
Ooh, just catching out Abignale here at the start of the fight. I thought they were going to have enough burst damage to just one-shot him really early. Do have to invest the flash, and then in the end, I think X7 plays this really well. Kasing in particular, I mean, standing in front and utilizing the bushes and everything here to deny the vision of Ace Tor. Really close to be able to survive there, or even Nada, but in the end, he goes down and also buys the AD item, so I have to be embarrassed by myself thinking it was AP Twitch, but I was wrong. Oh.
Sometimes Jaeger just does that. Don't worry about it. It happens to the best of us, but that's a nice solo kill coming in for Ornn. Remember, even though the tank does a surprisingly large amount of damage early, so X7, as we maybe expect a little bit from just what we've seen from them so far, taking themselves a couple of leads across the map, and Haru looking a bit aggressively, potentially going for a dive, but actually going to look for Xin Zhao, who's hanging around him. Thinking about going in, will do just that. This is going to be a team fight as Decidre dives away, and it's actually going to be Haru who's taken now, because he needs to be careful on the Yuumi, doesn't have that much health. And the Rikki take the fight, following through. Vex goes in, has to leave immediately afterwards though, but Tempt is now in trouble. Nata putting some damage through, Yuumi dives on through, the flash is utilized. But the Rikki, excellent fight, they turn the play around and grab themselves a kill.
Haru might have been biting up a bit more than he could chew right there. I thought he was going to have the fight because he was level 6 versus level 4. Huge difference there in the jungle. But Decidre had his team right there. So NYYRIKKI working together to protect their jungler, protect their own side of the map, and punishing Haru there. Quite a good pickup there. Still Decidre is quite far behind in this jungle matchup, but that definitely propelled him a bit forward in the experience and goal to try to catch up to Haru.
Yeah, it's not even just a case of grabbing loads for himself, but it's also a case of helping his team out and stopping Haru from getting further ahead. Now on the bot side again, Nata and Kasing have the priority for now, which is not something we necessarily expected in this matchup when it comes to champions. But Haru, once again, he hasn't been put off being aggressive and has moved into the jungle. Once again, Cecina will know what's going on. You've got to imagine, spots out the red buff, could look to get smite away. Won't be able to, actually. It's going to be Haru who steals it and backs away with the buff in tow.
I'm a bit interested into Haru's decision-making right there, because Ocean Dragon is up. Ocean Dragon is a very strong, I mean, it's the strongest early game dragon. You help your laners so much if you secure it. And they also had full pressure in the bottom lane, and as well as the mid lane. So he had all the opportunities in the world to set up for a dragon, but instead went for the enemy red buff to go very deep into the Decidre's jungle, try to harass him, wanting to get an advantage for himself, and is now on the Herald while the Decidre is looking for bottom lane of X7 here, but won't be able to get it. So that's going to be a free Herald for Haru.
Haru's going to grab it, and while the decision making might not be necessarily what you expect, Haru doesn't do what you expect. He does what he wants and grabs himself the objectives. He grabs himself the buff and the Rift Herald, and actually with the reset coming through, NYYRIKKI could look to just start this one up immediately, and giving themselves that Ocean Dragon will be a nice boon on the side. And with Diana still being on the top side of the map, this one should be freely taken, which is going to be a nice start for NYYRIKKI. But 9 minutes in, with the Rift Herald having just been taken very quickly, it's almost 2,000 in the lead for X7.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a lead pretty much across the board. Bottom lane, quite behind in the CS, but you have one more kill, so that's a good thing. But the top lane is what I was thinking about. Good of the observers to show us here. 30 CS up for Jaeger right now. That's basically a 50% lead, 2 plates as well. And the most important thing, this is in a tank versus tank matchup. This is not where you're supposed to be getting solo kills to get 30 CS leads at 9 minutes to get free tower plates. But Jaeger is just outplaying Tosca here. in the 1v1. And you have to remember that Petoska also chose this matchup. He knew he was up against an Ornn, picked the Gragas himself. Really, I mean, he chose this, and yet Jaeger is doing so well. Also going towards the bottom side right here. Might look for a play with the Call of the Forge God.
Yeah, moving in, you've got Haru as well, so it'll be a 4v2. They could potentially start up a dive, but Vex and Sindel are on the bottom half of the map. Astor going to be forced to flash away, but he can't flash away from all the dots coming through. The healing potion is enough to keep Astor alive. Everything thrown onto him, but everything thrown by his own team as well. And in the end, no one falls.
Is the Herald going to be used here for X7? I'm not sure. Could go for a dive if they have the Herald with him as well, but Haru goes in.
He goes in super early, goes down, and now the disengage can come through. There's the ultimate from Downtown. X7 in shambles in this team fight. Jaeger stumbles away, but they lose 4 members. Triple kill going on to Aero. And X7 have just hurled the game right back into NYYRIKKI's favor.
What was that? Gold lead now for NYYRIKKI. Triple kill for the Vex, getting multiple resets on the ulti and that tower dive. And X7 really playing far too confidently. Let's take a look at what actually happened here. I think I think if you dive this, you put down the Herald before you go in, but Haru just goes ASAP, gets comboed there by everything, and you can see now Area has the reset on the Vex, is able to ulti I think 3 times in this fight. So overall very well played there for NYYRIKKI, but you also have to question X7. I think you have to say that wasn't necessarily a mistake to go for the dive, but the execution left a lot to be desired.
I mean, the execution was horrible. I think we don't have to sugarcoat it. Going in as the Diana, getting exhausted, stunned, and killed immediately before the rest of the team could come through. Let's see if X7... Actually, let's see how X7 can respond, because we haven't had to see them do a response to a necessarily awful play yet. They've moved Nata and Kissing onto the top side, but multiple members of NYYRIKKI are here looking to potentially punish. A couple of minutes left on plates to get some more investment into their pockets. But as you say, NYYRIKKI have themselves a slender gold lead. And with this composition, with the champs like Jinx and Vex with a triple, things are looking good. Riftail now drops on the top side just to get a bit of gold, but are they going to look to potentially make a play alongside it?
People are coming in here. There is TP on both of the bottom laners as well.
Engaging coming through. Nana needs to be a little bit careful. Goes low. Members are coming up, but Haru are going to be able to dodge away from that tidal wave. No one falling on this occasion, but Aero chasing Tempest back down the river. Both went to join the team, but neither was called on. And the fight will just peter out. But X7 maybe being a little bit more tentative now, seeing what NYYRIKKI can do in fighting situations, giving them a bit more space.
Yeah, for sure. NYYRIKKI is keeping up with the X7 right now, which is not what I was expecting to say here. I think this might be the most one-sided game today. I mean, that was my expectation, but looking at it right now, it's really neck and neck, very, very close at a 13-minute mark. I think both teams scale quite well, but I don't think NYYRIKKI are too sad with the game continuing, even though they're probably a slightly weaker going up against the Ornn with the Ornn items. They do still have a Jinx with some good peeling on top of her as well as the Vex, so not bad scaling at all.
Interesting as well that Jaeger has gone for the rush of the Fimbulwinter. I know it's called something else before it gets stacked up, but, you know, when it's stacked, it's called Fimbulwinter. So that's an interesting first buy from the Ornn. Keep your eyes on that one stacking up, because it's going to be a decent chunk of tankiness once it's completed. But Aztar and Abagnale in the mid lane just trying to get a couple more plates, potentially. Going to be able to grab one before they fall off. 15 seconds left means that will probably be all she wrote in terms of that. But NYYRIKKI, they've lost the gold lead, but as you said, if they keep even, it's anyone's game.
Yeah, for sure. And with the second dragon spawning right now, we do, of course, have a slight dragon lead for NYYRIKKI here, securing the ocean, and it's going to be a Chemtech spawning right now. And the Sidran, not sure if he's started it, does not. Oh, he's actually going to go for it right here. And X7 are giving this up. They are far out of position, so this is going to be a free second break for NYYRIKKI as well. Not sure if X7 had to do that, but with the recall timings, they were not able to contest it.
And giving away the second dragon is going to give a bit more power into NYYRIKKI's pocket. Their ability to fight is once again increased, and X7 needs to be careful here, giving away too much and allowing NYYRIKKI too much freedom in this game, and respecting them to an extent is always going to be good, but they need to make something happen if they want to snowball this advantage that they had and have somehow managed to claw back through farming and just being slightly better in terms of getting in those side lanes and grabbing gold where they could. I'm a little bit concerned though. But that being said, we haven't seen much of Tempt yet. Nata going to be moving in now, getting the ultimate down onto Yuumi. That's the secret Yuumi ultimate, and there's going to be 2 quick kills. Just as I began to doubt them, Tempt dives in to try and take down Zinzao, but he puts up the ultimate, which may keep him alive. It will keep him alive for a couple of seconds longer. X7 grab themselves back on level playing field when it comes to kills and take the gold lead a little bit further.
Well played by X7. Look at this Twitch Yuumi, the invisible final chapter, and then using the Gale Force on the Twitch to reposition to get the second route there. And then Tempt even going for the mini insect on the Jace, E-flashing in melee form to knock the Silver back in towards his team. Perhaps a little bit too fancy. I mean, you weren't able to pick up the kill because of the Zinzao ulti, how strong it is when he's just trying to run away from the enemy team, but still, very nice set of plays there from X7, really utilizing this Twitch and Yuumi well, and that's something that I really want to see. I mean, you have to, like, when you're picking Twitch Yuumi, it's because you want to be, it's not because you want to get bubbled as soon as you come out of invisibility, it's because you want to set up plays with the Yuumi ulti.
Which is what we saw in that last fight. It was a case of Nata running forward, grabbing the perfect angle for Kasing to go in with that Yuumi ultimate, and they picked up 2 kills on the back of it. Now it's a question of, can they do that consistently, and other members of the team, are they going to be able to follow up the way that they did? But Nata going to be just hanging around mid, but he doesn't have support really. Needs to be careful as Teleport Ash is going to come on through. The Rat-a-tat-tat has been thrown, but Nada's going to be engaged on, gets the kill first with Haru now here, trying to keep the Cedar off the Twitch, and will be able to do so quite effectively. But now NYYRIKKI re-exerting their efforts and managed to grab the kill on to the Twitch. The CJ will be the next victim though. Vex flying on through, trying to get that CC, get that AoE, and the fight is turning. Kasing needs to find a way onto Haru, won't be able to do so. But NYYRIKKI, it looked good for a while, but Agvanale, the only survivor. X7 take the fight.
Yeah, Haru really laying down the hurt there onto NYYRIKKI, winning the fight in the end there for X7. I think one other important factor is just look at the junglers right now, 85 CS to 130. Desidre was really weak in that fight. He was alone up against the Twitch Yuumi in the backside, which we'll be seeing here in this replay. So it begins with Nada opening up. I think he doesn't really realize how many people on the enemy team are here, but look at Desidre right now. He is free hitting onto the Twitch, using all of his abilities for a really long time, then goes back in, and he's still not able to kill the Twitch. So he keeps shooting for a while. There's a lot of AoE damage, and then Vex is not able to get any resets here. Instead gets shut down, and Haru auto-attacking through here with the Conqueror Diana. Really liking these sort of long fights. So even though NYYRIKKI look to be keeping an even footing for a long time in the game, I'd say X7 have a solid lead at this moment.
Yeah, looking at that gold, 4,500, you definitely call that comfortable, and something that I must say is Nata's just about to unload once again. The spray and pray Agvanale should survive. Burning low, but there's going to be some food poisoning in that sushi if anyone tries to take a bite. But NYYRIKKI definitely taking the fight to X7 in a way that, even with XL last time around, I don't think we've necessarily seen.
Yeah, pretty much so. I mean, they are just looking for so much with this Twitch. Being able to make plays as an AD carry is something that's pretty rare. I mean, you have, yeah, sure, you have the Ashe, but then you're more like setting up for your team, and then you have Jhin, maybe you can set up for your team also, but the Twitch can set up for himself. And Nada's doing a good job with it. Playing with the Ignite as well speaks to the levels of confidence that he has here. Picking up both mid lane towers also gives you a lot of space, but here's the fight.
Coming off through, Jaeger breaks on the backline though. Desidre is free hitting, but he's not really getting anyone important. And this time around, he'll be taken out. Excellent play by Jaeger, MVP of that one, just to keep the rest of NYYRIKKI at bay. And now this inner tower should be the focus. X7 able to grab that one up easily. and backing away. They stumbled for a couple of minutes there. But it looks like X7 are back on top. Vex going into the backline. Nobody jumped on the two. Haru goes low, has to go golden into stasis. But there's an excellent play from Batoska. Looks for the execution on the Haru. Has to shield away from the minions. But the rest of X7 are going to turn the fight around. Abagnale goes low. Asdor has the Gale Force defensively. The Tempt is still chasing him. Yumi's still chasing him. And Kasing helps secure the kill. Batoska moving the other way. He had a perfect disengage a little bit early in this fight. Can he disengage himself? No, he can't. Nata makes sure of that one. Aero under tower is a hard nut to crack. Remember, an X7 may well try. Jaeger taking up this tower actually will go down. Nice use of the stopwatch to keep the vets alive. And now Kasing, no one to help him, is failed as well. They will be able to secure the objective as Haru wasn't there. X7 maybe getting a little bit too greedy.
Eerie on this Vex, doing it really well in that fight. You can see him opening up with the ulti there on like the re-engage after his jungler have died. At this point, this is a very confident play to go for, but together with a Jinx rocket, you have so much burst damage. Haru's just able to survive with the stopwatch, and then just gets the shield up again to survive after getting Dragon's Cast. But yes, even though his bottom lane died, I mean, I like Aereo going for this sort of play. NYYRIKKI, you just don't want to sit back and get engaged on by Twitch over and over and getting picked up and killed for no reason. You want to go for these proactive plays, and I think they're doing it well. And then this dive as well, Aereo playing it really well, getting the CC chain down onto Jaeger, using that Everfrost and the Sonias at the perfect timing. So really a shining light for NYYRIKKI right now in the mid lane.
I saw that we talked about in pre-show, actually, Era being, oh, okay, thinking about the Death Rush, going to be putting up that tidal wave, but it doesn't hit anyone because they're going to be able to dive away onto Nata, and X7 able to dodge away from that brush with Death. On the top side, Aero and Jaeger just going to be hanging out, but I don't know if Orn's necessarily got the kill ability onto Aero, especially if he can't hit that second charge of ultimate because he was CC, but Haru moving in to try and make this one a little bit less fair. Jaeger speaking somewhat careful, is being a bit cavalier with taking tower shots, and is going to be forced to back away.
I think the big problem for NYYRIKKI here is the Sidra. Look at the jungle, he's so far behind, he is so weak, and yes, he can survive for a long time with the Xin Zhao ulti. Well, actually, he lived through all of that, so good on him. But he is still really far behind in this matchup. Cord Rinker and 2 Ruby Crystals versus 2.5 items on Diana. The Sidra is really not going to be a big threat in these fights.
No, he's able to dive through, and we were speaking so much of what happened well early for NYYRIKKI was about Decidra on this Xin Zhao. But in recent fights, X7 have been much more, they've changed their focus to, let's make sure that Xin Zhao is on his own. If he dives forward, that's fine, but let's make sure the rest of the team isn't able to follow up. And as you can see, Nata still trying to get things going. Needs to be a little careful because, again, maybe one too many members of the Finnish team here to really make it comfortable, but Haru's coming through, Tempt on the other side. This could be an X7 sandwich, and it's fish on the menu as they pick up the Nami. The Sidra, again, he's on the back line, but he can't get very much done, and he's going to be deleted. Jaeger steps forward, but can't find a re-engage, and X7 move towards the Baron area.
Now, NYYRIKKI have to answer a difficult question. Are you going to contest this Baron? Are you going to be playing to try to fight this? I think the answer is yes. It looks like they will be going for it. If you get a Vex combo on several people with a Jinx rocket, it's not impossible to get a reset and then get a lot of damage down on the enemy team. They are going to be trying for it.
The old horn has been blown. They're trying to keep people, but it's not going to hit anyone. The Baron is secured by X7, but people going low. Iro trying to escape, doesn't get snared up. Will be rooted by the last tick, though, as Haru is unstoppable. X7, strength to strength so far in this league, finding their way back into the game.
X7 just looks so calm when they're playing. I mean, I would be panicking in that scenario. Oh, the enemy team, they're here, they have a Vex and a Jinx and a Gragas, they could try to steal this, they could try to go for the fight, but they're just like, it doesn't even look like they're caring. They just hit the Baron and then kill it and then win the fight. They're just a better team at the moment. They're playing with so much confidence.
And it's the experience these players are coming with, you know? You've got the likes of Tempt and Haru played on the biggest stage in Korea, in the world stage even. Kasing, of course, coming through, has had experience with ELCS and LEC. Jaeger has been out in LEC and NALCS, but don't tell trouble. So they've got so much experience that they know when to make these decisions and how to make these calls. And Haru, that was probably not the correct call though, as he's been caught out diving on through. But it's Tempt to get the first kill of the fight, and Haru's still alive. He will finally be cut down as the NYYRIKKI look to make their excuses and leave. One-on-one is the trade currently. But Jaeger might want to start more. They're going to move back towards Tosca though, as the rest of X7 want to take down the Fat Man. Won't be able to do so. And actually, NYYRIKKI get the even trade.
Yeah, but Tempt in that fight, he's been sort of invisible on this Jace. He's not been doing too much in the fights. I mean, he's been doing some damage, but they're just one-shots the enemy 80 carry before the fight even starts. And that's the reason that this fight has not been a lot worse for X7, and they're able to keep going here.
Yeah, Jaeger going very aggressively, Tempt following up, but have they gone a step too far? Damage on Nami is big, but now Tempt is the focus for NYYRIKKI's anger. Looking to try and take down the tower, will be able to do so, so at least they're not fighting under that one anymore. But Tosca is so healthy, and X7 is so not, as Jaeger will be the first victim. Can NYYRIKKI find another? Desidra goes low, and he's going to have to peel away. And NYYRIKKI will likely go with him. Nada's here, Tempt is here, Kazin keeping people alive and wanting to fight. Moving forward, Jace wants to get some sniping down, some damage if he can, but won't be able to do so as Azador turns the pain back around. X7 unable to continue for now, but Haru is moving in.
Sneaky, sneaky.
The Dragon is up, the Cloud, if they want to go for it. NYYRIKKI probably cannot contest them. They want to keep going for this, perhaps. Yeah, they're just going to be turning towards the Dragon. And the big thing standing out to me in that long fight is the Yuumi, how strong it is with all of the healing. But yeah, look at the one-shot here from Tempt. Jumping in, one hit, kills Azador, while Haru is able to buy a lot of time. So really showing the strength of the Jace here. But then, playing with a bit too much confidence, perhaps, 6-7. Yes, Ornn is very tanky. You can tank the tower for a while, but without any minion wave even close, you're half HP before the fight even starts. And you don't have that much burst damage when the Twitch does not have ulti, because you're so far away, not able to do too much, and a good Gragas cast as well. Actually not able to land the E-Flash there on the Twitch, which I did not spot in the first time, so that could have been a completely different fight if Tosca would have landed that and been able to CC up Nada. If the Twitch goes down there, I think we're looking at a different fight.
Something that's to be noted, though, the difference between X7 in this game and the games they had last week has just struck me. The communication doesn't seem to be there to the same level. In that X7, a lot of the times where they've made mistakes or overextended, it hasn't been the whole team. In that last fight, we saw Jaeger peeling towards bot lane, flashing in that direction to try and get things going. The rest of the team had turned its attention towards mid lane and towards Tosca. So whether X7 are completely on the same hymn sheet right now has to be questioned. They're still playing exceptionally well individually, and when the team fights are forced to be 5v5, they're doing that correctly. But it's just the decisions leading up to those and when to call in, when to dive out. It's not been the same X7 that we saw necessarily from week one.
I gotta agree with you. I'm not been too impressed today by the way they've been playing together as a team. As I said in the pregame, they have some very nice layers of engage, I think, with the Ornn ulti opening up and then a Jace sped up Diana with the Yuumi on top following that engage up. But they've not been able to pull that off even once this game. Instead, it's been these sort of scattered fights, Jaeger going really deep, Tempt going really deep a couple of times on the Jace. It's not to speak about Nada, who can just been engaging fights by himself. So the team coordination, I'm not too impressed. I am impressed by the balls and picking up a Magi Soul Stealer on an AD Twitch, though.
You know, 10 stacks, sometimes you got to... Oh, is that 10 or is that 0? I can't read. I think that's 10.
It's 10.
I mean, Nata has been playing exceptionally well. Of course, being the least experienced player on the team, having that confidence and being supported by the team is something that's going to be very important for this guy's development. And it's clearly a massive talent to have made it onto this X7 roster. And I believe Kazing spoke about it a little bit in week one when we had him on the interview, saying this guy, he just needs the support structure around him. He just needs a good team to foster his development. And that's what X7 seems to be providing him, because third game on the NLC stage, picking up a Medjai's, picking up a Twitch, of all things, and then having a very strong performance on it and getting things going for yourself. That's not kind of a rookie move that you necessarily expect.
And he's been starting the fights by himself. I mean, he's not been sitting back for others to engage. He's been opening up like alone here in these fights, or with Kasing on top of him, and it's mostly been working out. I'd say he's been punished maybe once or twice, but usually the aggression has been paying off in this case.
Where's Azatol gone? Temp just removes him from the face of the rift, and they can move towards this mid lane inhibitor tower. It gets melted through just as quickly. And just like that, the base is cracked open pre-30 minutes. X7 will not overstay their welcome this time around. And they're potentially looking towards the Baron area, clearing out vision as they go. Whether they'll take the objective, we'll have to wait and see.
They will be going for this. NYYRIKKI should probably look to try to contest it. I'm not sure about the vision situation, though. They have 3 blue trinkets, which is going to be very important, but Nada is looking for the play.
That Call of the Forge got hit onto Abagnale. He's already down. NYYRIKKI now with 3 members. It's going to be even harder to contest this objective. X7 make the bait work. Are they actually going to start the objective?
Well, actually, Acidor is such low level, so he's been able to respawn and come back into this fight once more. Here we go.
Well, the Xin Zhao's already burning low. Will survive for a second longer. Nard gets pulled in and actually shut down. The resale Azatol, they pick up a second, but there's the engage from Haru. That's what we wanted to see from X7. They pull off a combination and move towards the enemy base.
That's a wombo combo right there. Haru doing so much damage. I thought X7 might have gone too deep when Nara and Kasing got picked off really deep in the fight. Like, frontline Twitch, what are you doing? But in the end, it works out when Haru completely cleans up the fight. Will they be able to finish this game, though?
I think they will be able to. Temp's going to be knocked back, knocking back the fountain. Nami goes down. X7 are going to be able to secure an undefeated run. It will continue as they take down NYYRIKKI. But that was closer than I think a lot of people were expecting.
Yeah, X7 playing with a lot of confidence.